The next one is from a franchise that I hold close to my heart because it was one of the first franchises of horror that I ever really got into. And it's the Leprechaun franchise. Now, Leprechaun has been to like Texas or Oklahoma or whatever. Then he was in Las Vegas, New York. He went to space. He went to the hood. And then he went back to the hood. Now, ironically, he's been to the hood twice and space, but the worst Leprechaun movie, obviously, is Leprechaun number 2. Now, I know people are gonna argue me about this because the Leprechaun Back to the Hood movies are bad as well, but hear me out just for a second. Do you remember the scene in Leprechaun 2 where the main couple of protagonists are like arguing and the one girl is like, "Oh, I can never stay mad at you." It literally is the worst acting I've seen in a horror movie, probably to date. It's so bad. And the Leprechaun kills in this sometimes aren't even that clever, right? Like, one of the coolest things about the Leprechaun is his mystical, magical powers and how he can kill people in such ironic ways. One kill he does do with a hanging lawnmower is awesome. That's the spike of this movie. The absolute spike. After that, it's just downhill. Everything is downhill. Not blood and guts, not corny rhymes from a little demonic leprechaun saved this movie. Now, and that's including 2 different remakes of Leprechaun. And this is still the worst one. This is still the worst one. And I think what brings us to the most iconic letdown of every horror movie franchise ever, in my opinion, which means it's right, is Jaws 3D. What were you thinking, Jaws? The first Jaws is known as one of the first bad B movies to ever make it, to ever soar in the box office and create a legend amongst itself. And it did exactly that. The shark Bruce is engraved in everyone's head as probably the most significant killer of the sea. There were people that wouldn't even shower or take baths after watching Jaws. That's how scary it got for people. And the iconic line of "we're gonna need a bigger boat" rings out within the halls of the movie museums. That's a dumb thing to say. And Jaws 2 came along. It wasn't the greatest, but it was a good follow-up to the amazing, magnificent, righteous, incredible movie that Jaws 1 was. We put the bar so high, Jaws 2 came slightly below it, but it was still a good movie. Jaws 3? What happened? Okay, you don't need the shark to be in 3D. Let's be honest. The 3D graphics at this time were not that great. This wasn't Avatar. This was red and blue lenses. The things that kids used on the side of cereal boxes. But you're trying to sell it to adults in a theater. Why? You have everything you need. You have people that are vulnerable and squishy. You have a massive serial killing shark that's unstoppable at this point. And you don't know how many there are. The ocean's huge. And there's no rules that this shark abides by. You have the perfect storm of horror movies. Yet you choose to spend pointless money and hours making this awful, awful 3D version of the shark that looks so lame and fake. It was insulting. It was insulting to people and sharks alike. I think after seeing the first Jaws movie and then seeing the third, people were like, yeah, it's fine to go back in the water because that's all BS. You weren't scaring anybody, Jaws 3. You were just getting people mad that they paid way too much for that movie. And on top of that, it was probably like a nickel to go see a movie back in those days. A nickel. And people were like, not worth it. Not worth my nickel.